Good evening, everybody. So we're going to get started. I think thanks everybody for coming out. This is great. We're really excited about what we have to share with you this evening. And so like everything, we're going to start with a prayer. And then I'll hand it off to Lauren to take us off. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening with grateful hearts, with excites full of hope, anticipation for all that you're doing here at St. Brigid. Give us hearts that are on fire for you, and on fire for Catholic education, and on fire for this institution, that it can become something even better than it is, something great that has a huge impact on our children, on our community, and on our parish. We ask all through the intercession of St. Brigid and Our Lady of the Rosary as we say together, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Father, if you continue.
All right, welcome everybody. It's so good to see such a good turnout and so many kids. You're about to find out what we have in store. We've been telling you all year about the ISPD assessment, so we're very excited to be able to share those results with you. So when Father Stephen came on board, he had a lot of questions about what we were doing, and we all wanted to know, like, where do we go from here? And so the ISPD group, and we'll give you what that stands for in a moment, came in and did an assessment, talked to you guys, talked to faculty, talked to students, and looked at a lot of data to get a sense of what we were doing. And the results were very good. First of all, I want to say that they were very, very pleased with what we're doing here at the school. So what we're doing here tonight is preparing a roadmap to make us even better. And so tonight we're going to cover some of their recommendations, some of what we did very well, and show you our roadmap going forward. So on that note, I'll pass it back to Father Stephen so he can talk to you a little bit about the renewal itself.
Okay. All right, so I just want to give kind of like a why behind all of this. So like, why did we go after ISBD, the Institute for School and Parish Development, and why are we even engaged in this renewal? We are engaged with renewal. First of all, it's because we want to be more like authentic in who we are as a Catholic school. We want not just icing on the cake, but better cake itself. And so what we mean by that is that sometimes, over the course of many, many years, Catholic education kind of has become, the Catholic part of the Catholic school is just kind of icing on the cake of the school. That like the school itself, what happens in the school is essentially identical to what's going to be happening in any other school. And so over the course of time, that's kind of not produced the results that we're always looking for. And I think, where we're at in modern education, modern educational philosophy kind of bears that out. So we want the whole cake of a Catholic school to be thoroughly and authentically Catholic. And so that's kind of what this whole renewal is about. It's first and principally about who we are as Catholics and what a Catholic education really is. And so that boils down to essentially a philosophy. That there's a difference between a modern philosophy of education and a Catholic philosophy of education. Just the word education itself kind of starts with a difference. That the Latin word that we get the word education from is educare. And educare doesn't mean to like pour information into a receptacle of the mind. Education, educare, means to draw out or to lead out. That there's something in individual human persons that are capable of becoming something extraordinary. And education about drawing that out of them, which just from the very beginning is a completely different way of approaching education. And so that gets to the ends and the means of education. So the ends being kind of like the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal of a Catholic vision of education is not merely an economic one, which is what a modern view of education is going to have as the ultimate end. The ultimate end of a Catholic education is unity with Christ. And it's kind of like if you set off on a journey and you're pointed like 4 degrees off from your final destination. You're going to end up someplace completely different. So knowing the ultimate ends is going to help us know the proximate ends. So the proximate ends is like a good education. A proximate ends is where you get into college. The proximate ends of a good Catholic education are going to be aligned with the ultimate ends of Catholic education. And when those two things get aligned, amazing things happen. And so the means of Catholic education is going to be different too. If the ends of Catholic education isn't just to train people to do work to make money, that the ultimate ends of a Catholic education is to create someone who's wise, who knows how to think, who's joyful, who knows how to ask the deepest questions about life that make life meaningful, that no matter what you choose for a profession, that you're going to be able to do that in a way that's profoundly more meaningful. That's going to affect how we go about doing the work of education. And so there's lots of different examples from your teachers here who can tell you what that looks like practically in their classrooms. So when you go talk to them and mingle around with them over with, I think there's one back there, you can ask them specifically what that means, looks like, and why they believe in Catholic education. So that boils down to an integration of faith and reason. So integration of faith and reason doesn't mean 6 apostles plus 6 apostles equals 12 apostles. That's not the kind of integration we're talking about. We're talking about a philosophy that imbues what we do. It's about asking different questions. It's about asking, why do we learn? What's the purpose of a Catholic school? What does it mean to be human? And how does that affect how we go about doing the work of education? That word liberal, so we partnered with this organization, the Institute for Catholic Liberal Education. That word liberal isn't like meant to connote political terms. It's the original use of that word, which is to be free. Liber, to be free. That an education is meant to free us, to free our minds, to be able to engage any field of study in a way that allows us to master. That's ultimately the purpose, to be free in our education. And also, the third reason why we want to do this is because it's best for children. It's best for children, it's also best for teachers, but for children, which is ultimately what this is all geared towards, both human and intellectual formation. We're putting them in contact with what's true, good, and beautiful, which is what all of us desire to come in contact with. Children desire to know, and to be in communication, and to be in communion with the same things that we deeply desire to as adults. And so we want to do that, and that produces joy. And I think many of you have talked about the kind of joy that your students, that your children are experiencing in this new way of doing education. It leads to a deeper understanding. So we're not just kind of regurgitating information, we're not just plugging information in and spitting it out. It's about critical thinking. It's about understanding information. It's about understanding why we're learning and asking these deep questions that undergird these particular facts of information that we learn. It tells an overarching story that's coherent. This is a Catholic vision of education. It has proven results. The other why behind all this is because of sustainability. This is a chart begins in 1970 and charts enrollment in Catholic educational institutions from secondary schools and universities and from 1970 until today. As you can see, Catholic schools are in decline. So we cannot continue to do the same thing that we've always done. 93% of millennials who were raised Catholic are no longer practicing. Many of them went to Catholic schools. So we have to take a look at the mirror and say, okay, is what we're doing in Catholic education living into the mission that we've been given? And then there's proven results. We're part of a national movement of renewing Catholic education. The Institute for Catholic Liberal Education has partnered with, I think, over 200 schools now across the country. In the schools that they have partnered with, the stories of transformation are remarkable. Schools that are on the brink of closure, schools that are given 3 years, otherwise the diocese is going to close them. They turn it all around when they implement this vision in a profound way, and they're left with 300% increase in enrollment. So there's proven results about what we're doing as a national movement, and we can't continue to keep doing what we've always done. So the question is, how do we do that? How do we achieve this why? And that's where the ISBD assessment comes in. It's about trying to take the great things that we're already doing at St. Brigid and build on it. And that's where the assessment comes in. Chris.
Hi, everybody. Hi, nice to see you.
Is everyone getting that feedback that's already like annoying people?
So, I've got a couple of different things that I get the chance to talk to you guys about today. One of them is what is and why did we look at the Institute for School and Parish Development for operational vitality, and what is the opportunities we have, and what were we already doing really, really well. We're going to have a little program for you today. We're going to go over the good. We're going to talk about areas where we're strong but can be stronger, and that's kind of the plan with everything. So my little chunk right now, and I'll be back up in a little bit to talk to you again about some of what we've already done. But why did we start with the assessment? Well, we partnered with the Institute for School and Parish Development because we knew, Father Stephen knew, as a committee, we knew that we needed to look at ourselves and look at what are we doing in a way, and what are our stakeholders, you, the people that care about us, the people that invest their time, treasure, and talent with us, what is that going to look like, and what do we need to do to continue to be able to do this for another 50 and another 100 years? So we decided we were going to take this chance, and we were this opportunity, and we were going to do the assessment. So we did a comprehensive assessment to look at what we were doing and how we're doing it, and then so what do we do well? We know we do a lot of things well. We have a warm and welcoming community. We have a community itself that has an opportunity with a lot of people that have a lot of talent, a lot of time, and a lot of treasure. So we took that and we have a strong Catholic identity. We're already partnering strategically and intentionally with organizations to help us do even more and buck this trend that isn't this for us. So we have a sense of belonging. We have an engaged community. We have a supportive environment that develops faith within our organizations. And we have the opportunity to continue to move forward with that. So we do have, and we're going to go over what were some of the recommendations that they gave. Laura's going to come up and talk about those. But these are things that were areas that we're doing okay. We're doing good. But like the book says, we're going from good to great. And that's the point with what we're trying to do today. There you go.
All right. I'm going to use the microphone. So we asked them for recommendations. That was why we hired the ISBD to come out, and they gave us recommendations. And the first thing was we had a report about this thick, and they said, create an executive committee that you can use to unpack these results. Read through what you are doing very well, share that with the community, and then figure out what we need to do going forward. And so we have done that, and those that are talking today are members of the executive committee. Also, Mark Bassett, who's not here, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Recommendation number 2, create a strategic plan. That's what this is a part of. Recommendation number 3, update our marketing plan. We don't want to be the best kept secret in Midland. We want everyone to know about it. So building a brand and formalizing our enrollment process. Recommendation number 4, building a culture of belonging. We don't want to be a school that just calls you when we need something. I need a volunteer, I need money, I need something from you. I also want you to feel like you belong here and that you have things that you can contribute, your time, talent, and treasure, for example. Wrong direction. I'm technologically challenged here, apparently. Still going the other way.
Push the other area.
I am. It's not working. Ooh, I need to put it.
Your text will work.
There we go. I got it. All right.
It knew because I started walking over here, it got
Exactly.
scared.
The next recommendation is to ask the ultimate question, which is, would you recommend us to someone that you know? And ask that multiple times a year so that we can get a sense of what we need to work on to continue to be better. Create a fiscally responsible plan around based around scholarships and other financial standings. Develop a teacher formation plan. We've been partnering with ICLE for 3 years, but we don't want to lose the momentum that we have going forward. So we're developing a plan for the next 3 years. And hire a development director to plan for the school and the church's financial future. And to build relationships, build an annual fund, build relationships with our alumni. So those are some of the recommendations that they had for us. And now, Father's going to come up and share our strategic blueprint. I'm sorry, I put it up here.
Okay, so the strategic blueprint. What this is, it's the way we're going to make decisions going forward. So this is part of, as a direct outflow of the recommendations that we've received. So we did an offsite with the executive committee to put this together, which is modeled after something Mark Bassett put together for Hemlock Semiconductors. He used this in his businesses. And so we've come up with a new purpose statement and a new vision statement. So the purpose statement is that we're going to bring together faith and reason to reveal our joyful destiny in Christ. So that's the purpose of our school. And the vision is that we become and are becoming, recognize ourselves as the premier K-8 educational choice in Midland County. And so these 3 boxes below: culture, educational initiatives, and metrics. The culture corresponds to the culture statement at the bottom. I'm where God wants me to be, where I have a strong sense of purpose, my contributions are valued, and I continue to learn and grow from everything that is true, good, and beautiful. This is what we want it to feel like for you to be a member of this institution. Whether you were a parent, a student, or a teacher, whoever. That this is what we're aiming at. And so how we're going to achieve that is through these specific initiatives from year to year under the culture box. Those are going to change from year to year. What's not going to change is that we're going to focus on culture every year. So what it looks like, the specific goals for the year are going to be under the culture. And then for educational initiatives is to achieve our purpose and vision. And so that's going to involve specific things with teachers, it's going to involve scholarships, everything that we need to do as an institution, most importantly this year to move things forward. Ultimately, what I want you to take away from this is that we're not going to be reactive anymore. That we have a clear plan about where we're going to go, and we have a framework about how to make decisions to get there. And that's what this is all about. So next up, I think it's going to be Janine. Right? Is it you or who's next? It's Chris. Come on up, Chris. Oh, right, you have. And so we're talking about goals.
Okay, so, good? Yeah? Cool. All right. What I'm coming up here today to talk about is I've got 3 of the 4 goals up on the board. Janine's going to come up and have a conversation about the administrative clarity with fiscal responsibility kind of strategic goal that we have out. But we have our other 3 goals, which is our teacher development plan, our friendship raising, community belonging, and then lastly, our development structure and how we want to make that look. So one of the things we've been doing these last couple of years, and with our first goal, is we have been working strategically with different partners. And I know parents, when I've talked about this with a few of you, that those half days where we've been sitting as a staff trying to get to really immerse ourselves in our own learning, our own getting closer to God, our own being best practices of being a teacher. So we make those culture days, those teacher days, something that we're keeping very intentional and very important within our staff and within our own culture to give us the opportunity to connect and reconnect. And for me to talk to Sarah and go, hey, when did you do that Socratic circle again? Or hey, Kathy, what's up with that picture study you just did with Michigan Maps or whatever? So we do have, we had those in there. We are taking and with our professional development, what are opportunities where we can leverage state and federal resources to send our staff to get better education? One of our other plans with that teacher development plan is, what does it strategically look like year over year? In a few years, we're going to have some people that are going to be able to retire. What does it look like when we bring our next teachers in? How do we keep this momentum going for them? How do the current teachers that are here have the opportunity to continue to grow in their faith and their education? That's all part of that plan. Goal 2, parent belonging. I am going to be one of the people that's going to be piloting the opportunities to do those questions for everybody, having the opportunity to sit down with you, making sure we all understand and have more opportunities to bring people together. We have a wonderful, amazing fundraiser every year at Sierra Legion, and we're going to absolutely keep that. But what are opportunities where we can have more friendships, more community building that isn't that amazing, all-encompassing dollar? We're going to have those opportunities, and one of my tasks is going to be taking that on for everybody and helping everybody. And then lastly, it kind of ties into community development roles. That is helping build and helping be more strategic with leveraging the resources we have in town, leveraging the resources we have for our time, treasure, and talent within our own communities, and how can we more strategically set ourselves up for, again, not just next year, not just 5 years, not just 10 years, but 50 and 100. And what does that need to look like? So we have, those are our big four with the goals that we set out to do. And then Jean's going to come up here and talk a little bit about what we have for a second, for administrative clarity and fiscal responsibility, and then transparency that we're so striving for to make sure you all know what we know about how we're doing the great work we're doing.
Hello everyone, I'm Julie Huffman, I'm the business manager here at St. Brigid, and under my goals, I take on the HR and the fiscal responsibility part. So tonight we wanted to let everyone know that during the survey, we heard the comment, staff is spread too thin. So in an effort to address this, we're adding 2 new positions to our school administrative staff for 26-27 school year, and both of them have very familiar faces. The first one is Angelina Midas, and she's going to be giving up her front desk duties, and she's going to be changing into a new role called Director of Operations. In her new position, she's going to be serving as the primary operational leader of the school, supporting families and staff and leadership by creating and maintaining strong systems and communication and efficient processes. And our second one is going to be Chris Wakeman, who, in addition to being the middle school English and Language Arts and history teacher, is going to become the assistant principal in student life and culture. Adding that to his title, so it's becoming extremely long. It's probably a run-on sentence in the bottom of the email. In this position, he's going to be the second in command of the school, second to Laura. He's going to be leading student life, discipline, and culture, ensuring a strong, positive, well-oriented environment for students, and supporting engagement with families and the broader school community in itself.
That's why I think
And the next one we're going to talk about is finances. And during 25-26, one of the things that we looked at the end when we were behind by $78,000 was we needed some more revenue. So we kind of put our heads together and came up with some new revenue sources. So the first one you see up there is the annual fund. And we have already received $30,000 for dollar-to-dollar matches for our annual fund. And that kicked off this week. I believe the letters are in everybody's mailbox, or should be in their mailbox. And we started this campaign. It's going to be something that's going to come back every year to try to boost the scholarships and the different expenses that we have in the school that we can't quite meet every year. The second one we wanted to discuss was in 2025-26, we really looked at scholarship program that we had, Guardian Angel, and we pulled it apart and put it back together and made it make sense for us. And then we also held meetings with all of the families who needed extra help in order to be here, and sat down with them and listened to their needs and tried to meet them as best we could with what we had available. In 2026, we're going to do a little further dissecting of the program, and we are going to have descriptions for extenuating circumstances. So our families that have lost a job, or have a death in the family, or something's going to come up that doesn't fit within all the criteria that we have in front of us, and we're going to listen to them and sit down and figure out a plan for us to be able to help them still be here. Because if you want to be here, we want you here. Then Title I funds, we have not done in a very long time, but because costs are continue to rise, we are going to use state funds for the first time since I've been here, which is about 9 years, to try to also help us get some revenue into the school. And cost to educate, tuition adjustment. What we found out with ISPD is that the expenses are outpacing the income from tuition. So what we tried to do this year, and you'll notice, is the tuition amount raised by 9%, and the reason it did is we're trying to close that gap and be a little more fiscally responsible to the school, and to ensure that it's going to be here for many, many years to come. We also took on the enhanced offertory campaign in the beginning, probably about 6 months ago, and I can tell you to date, we have taken in an additional $65,000 for the parish, which is going to help us also give more money into the school when it's needed. And on a whim, when Laura and I were looking at scholarships in August, we realized what a huge gap we had in what we had in the account and what we were going to need. And one of the people in the office brought up the giving trees and said, how about if we just put things on the giving trees and just let's see if we get any response. Well, we got $75,000 worth of response for our giving trees. So these are revenue streams that we brought in. We're going to continue to research them. We're going to continue to try to put more and more revenue streams in so that we don't have to really rely so much on the Emily Gala every year.
Thank you. And then another recommendation for the ISPD was that we have a development director. The only way to continue to broaden our net for sources of funding, sources of ways to get together, ways to build community, ways to reach out to donors and alumni is to have a development director. And we are so fortunate that about the same time that we were thinking that we need one, Tom Byrne came into our picture. And he has over 20 years of fundraising experience, and so I'm going to invite him up here to tell you a little bit about himself and about his plans for while he's here. You don't need that? All right.
Hi, everybody. I'm really excited to be a part of St. Brigid and to help you establish and develop a fundraising and development program. Give you a little bit of an idea about myself. I have actually been in fundraising for over 40 years. The last 30 or so has mainly been working with Catholic parishes and schools throughout Michigan. In fact, the last 3 or 4 years, I've been working extensively here in the Diocese of Saginaw. In fact, that's where Father Stephen and I met. I helped him start a capital campaign at Holy Family in Sandusky. I'm a firm believer in Catholic education. Believe it or not, I was a troublemaker as a kindergarten or first grader. I mean, I was really a troublemaker. My parents were wise enough at that point to say that we need to get them over to St. Thecla School in Macomb County, which at that point was just starting a Catholic school, St. Thecla Parish. And I can tell you that without question, it was the best thing that my parents ever did, both from an academic, spiritual, and social situation. So again, I'm an absolute believer in Catholic education, and I'm just so thankful that Father Stephen has invited me to help you establish a fundraising program, development program here within the school. The main thing to keep in mind is that anything that we do, it's really critical. Fundraising is really revolves around relationship, establishing relationships and building those relationships. That's whether or not, like the annual fund that we've just started, when we started a alumni campaign or a planned giving program, it's all a matter of building and then creating and building those relationships. But not only with individuals, but also when we start reaching out to Catholic-friendly, education-friendly foundations or some of the local corporations and businesses, it's really a matter of building those relationships and then expanding those relationships. So everything that we do here, that's going to be kind of the core principle. I'm just excited to be here and to help you start from the ground level, and we'll see where it goes. But I'm really optimistic and excited to be here. So I hope to meet with all of you at some point down the road. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom, and welcome. So the last thing that we have on here is just a timeline. So our teacher development plan, by the end of the year, hopefully by the end of the month, we have kind of the first year all kind of set up, and then by the end of this school year, we intend to have that plan done. The fiscal responsibility plan, most of those things up there we have already put into place, and so we're well on our way on that one. Our parent belonging plan, when we come together in May I will have that plan for you to share with you. And then our development director, Tom, has been hired. He has already started, and we're off and running on that. So, let me get to the last slide. There we go. At this point, we'll take some questions.
I just want to wrap it up and just say that, we really believe in this. Like, I really believe in this, Laura really believes in this, the teachers really believe in this, and we want you to believe in it. All of the schools that I talked about that have had these massive changes and huge success stories, parents have been a critical part in driving the renewal forward. So, we know who we are, we have a plan to get there, and we want you to be part of it with us. So I just want to encourage you to, and invite you to be part of it with us as we move forward. So I want to take some questions. So how we're going to do it is, Laura's going to write down your questions. So we're just going to do kind of like rapid fire questions. If you have any questions at all, she's going to write them down, and we're going to take as many questions as we can at first, and then we'll go back and answer them, try and group some of them together as we go along. So if anyone has questions, please raise your hand and don't hesitate and don't be afraid. What do Title I funds cover? Anyone else?
Well, the new concept person be as good as Angelina. That would be a hard.
Well, she's going to train them. So if there's ever a possibility.
I think Angelina will still be the director of parents.
Absolutely. She's going to be the primary.
She's not mandated. She does not have to constantly answer the door, get a mandate, run a lunch box up to the students. That's how I interpreted that.
And Angelina will be the primary contact for all non-academic matters. Yes?
What are the changes you're hoping to see that you say, like all the other schools have seen all of these development changes? What exactly are?
What are we hoping to see in our schools? Yeah.
How do you measure the learning process? You know, you kind of piggybacking on that question, there are proven results.
Mm-hmm.
How do you measure the?
What are the measures? What are the
What
the metrics?
If we can have like more transparency with the PTO, like where exactly are the funds going, like itemized groupings to see like the money that is raised during like popcorn or the giving tree, or like have an itemized like that. So we actually see what is coming in and what is going out and what the bottom total is. Because I feel like it's kind of
So how can we be more transparent?
and not just like fluff, but like actually see.
Sure.
To piggyback that too with the student supply fee, we never really figured out, so if you have one child, it's like 400 and some, two children go to 700 and some, so you get some kind of discount. If it's really for 2 kids, why are we getting a discount for a student supply fee? Like, what is that money allocated for? And why is there a discount the more kids you have if it's going to a supply fee?
So clarity on tuition schedule and scholarship schedule.
And the fee for the
Tuition and
supply
tuition and
fee.
fees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got two quick questions. Can you explain Title I funds to me? And also, what sort of impact is that based on the curriculum or the school itself?
So in addition to what do Title I's cover, how will it affect the school?
What is the intent of the annual fund versus like
Sure.
endowment
Uh-huh.
separate?
Intent of the annual fund. Yeah.
Kind of in the long run until all
sorry.
these plans start to kind of kick in, are we going to anticipate tuition increases for the next several years? And how does that going to impact the amount of people that are asking for scholarships?
Sure.
I know as the tuition goes up, obviously the amount of people that are going to be asking for scholarships continue to go up, and now you're going to start
Sure.
obviously digging yourself into a hole that way.
What are the expectations for tuition increases in the future? Yeah. go ahead.
Any plans to consider a lower ed program in preschool or something of that sort of thing, where you're can't keep it in school?
Bo wants to go. Go ahead. Yeah.
Is there plans to create
Sure.
Is it something that's more?
How scholarships are determined. Yeah.
Plans reach out to the parishioners as well. I've heard a lot like these initiatives with their parents, some of us are not yet parents, to officially how we can get more involved when we're not directly involved with the school.
Buckle up. Yeah, I want to do one more.
You mentioned changes like practically how does that look at the curriculums? Are going to be more like traditional scholastic approach? You talk about those liberation thoughts, philosophy, or talking like
What practically does it mean in the classroom,
Yeah.
pedagogically and curriculum in this room? Okay. That's good.
How are you planning, how are you, planning for like increased revenue needs and additional hires that have been done?
Budget forecasting. Yeah.
There's some, how long has a renewal been in place? How long has the ICOE been out doing their work? And what product purchasing outside of increased enrollment in schools? Do we have anything else beyond?
Metrics. Metrics. What are the metrics of schools who have done this well? Yeah.
So one question I have is for the handful of teachers. I see my son's one of the things that has always been frustrating for me about teachers who struggle.
Mhm.
Teachers who struggle to make ends meet, and yet they have to pay for tuition, and that's a concern.
Mhm.
More than that, when
Mhm. So how do, basically, what I hear you saying is, how can we make tuition affordable for teachers' children? Yeah. Okay, yes.
Could there be another, like, in addition to Emerald Evening, have like another fundraiser that would be, I don't know, either specific for teachers' salary or scholarships or just school improvement overall, all kids benefit, because not everyone gets a scholarship. So could there be maybe like a different fundraiser or another one with it, like a more casual one that like anyone can go to that's not kind of like how Auburn does theirs, where it's not $125 ticket, but maybe
So-
kind of like fish fry, where it's more affordable for the average person to go.
So more accessible fundraising opportunities with specific target.
Yes.
Yeah. Is that a question? That's what
Well, I
you're.
got one more, just enrollment in middle school and how it, I guess the trend is that it's been decreasing. So the cost compared to what it takes to run it, and
So what is the plan for the middle school?
yes.
Okay, great questions. In lieu of time, let's see. Okay, so I'll do my best and answer these, and then.
I can start with the first one.
Okay, yeah, do Title I. I have no idea.
So Title I funds are based on the number of students that we have that would qualify for what used to be free and reduced lunch. Based on income, they would give us a certain amount of funding. So if we have 20 students out of 130 that would qualify for Title I, they will give us X number of dollars. I don't know what the number of dollars is yet. Then we can use that number of dollars to help any student that is not achieving where they should be in reading and or math. It does not have to be those same 20 students, but based on those 20 students, we get funding so that we can hire people to help tutor for reading, help tutor for math. So that is additional funds for our school that we can use to bring somebody in to help our kiddos do even better. So that's Title I. That comes through the state. We already accept Title II and Title IV funding, which is to professional development. And so now we have Title I, Title II, Title IV. Title III is for students that are ESL students, and we just have not had enough students to qualify for Title III. Sorry, thank you. English is a second language. Educators have thousands of acronyms.
So what are we hoping to see? How do we measure learning changes? And just like questions about metrics, about like what is the product we're trying to produce, and how do we even determine if we're being successful at that? The metrics that we're going to use are both quantitative and qualitative. So qualitative measurements have to do with things that are more subjective. So this is about you could talk about the sacraments. You could talk about kind of what it feels like to be here as a student, like the culture things. All of those things are vitally important that we can measure in certain ways through, I think, primarily the ultimate question survey, both in terms of the parents and in how the students are going to respond to the environment themselves, and the teachers, how the teachers are qualitatively measured. Quantitatively, there's a lot of different measurements that we're still trying to kind of decipher which ones are going to be best for us. At the end of the day, what the philosophy of the liberal arts education, the renewal of Catholic education is going to say is that when we don't teach to a test, the test scores get higher. And so nobody wants, the worst part about my educational experience was standardized tests. I don't know if you agree with that. That was the worst part. And the entire system of education is based on a standardized test in a modern philosophy of education. And the paradox is that when that becomes the central feature that motivates all teaching, you actually get lower scores. So we're going to have qualitative measurements, but we're not going to teach those qualitative measurements directly, but to have the ultimate ends of education in mind. And when that happens, the children are actually able to learn better. Maybe Laura has some more specifics on that.
Yeah, I can share a few just qualitative anecdotes. For example, today, Sarah at a staff meeting, Mrs. Riggs, said that she was showing a math problem to her students, and she had 1 3/8 minus 5 3/4. And the students could take, 1 or 5 and 1 and subtract those. But you couldn't subtract the fractions without taking something from the whole number. And she hadn't even taught that yet. She was just throwing it out there. And because of the way that we've been teaching math, the students were able to figure out ways to solve it. And in fact, there were multiple ways to solve it, and the kids had come up with that before she ever showed them what she wanted them to do as far as the standard algorithm. Those are the kind of results that we want our students to be able to do. We want them to be able to critically think about something and explain it in such a way that shows that there is a true understanding there. It's easy. When my daughter was in kindergarten, I had to work with my middle son on math facts. And if I called Maggie over at age 3, I would say, what's 9 times 6? And she would say, 54. And I'd say, what does it mean? She said, I don't know, can I go back and play now? The thing is, you can memorize facts, and it means absolutely nothing. What we're trying to get students to do is to really think about what they're learning, not just in math, but in science, and in history, and in English language arts, and in the atrium. Some of the things that the students say in the atrium makes me tear up. I have to walk out because it's just so emotional. But the fact that a first grader could make the observations that they're making blows my mind, right? And as a cradle Catholic, walking in there, every time I go in, I learn something new, or I reflect on it in a different way than I had ever done before. That's what the renewal process is about. Getting students to really stop and think about how everything is interconnected, and think about why we're even studying this. Think about why somebody wondered how many stars are in the sky. Why is that even important? Why do we learn art? Why do we learn music? And that's why we're doing the renewal. Yes?
So I understand our teaching methods, but do we know the level that we're at in each class? Is it apples to
knowledge that's coming out. I can't get with NPS to release their NWA score, so I can't say where we are compared to Midland specifically, but we are at least the same or higher than the diocese, and we are higher in every category than the state. So,
I guess I'm asking not those scores, but like curriculum-wise, are they learning similar math?
and beyond. So we teach to the standards. There are standards that are set by the state. Do we have those standards included in what we teach? Absolutely. But they're so minimal, and we teach so far beyond that, that actually, I have students that can explain in the 8th grade physical science class, physics level explanations, high school level physics, that I know are not being taught in the public school, but it's because that group was so interested that we just do a deep dive with it. So we absolutely teach the standards and then some. Yes?
Can you address how technology is going to be fitting into this?
Technology, yes.
Like Chromebooks, things like that.
I'm glad you asked that. When I first started as a teacher here, as a principal here, when I gave the tour, I would always say, and we have Chromebooks, one for every student. Isn't that wonderful? And we use them for this and this. And now I say, we have Chromebooks, one for every student, and we use them for testing, and we try not to use them beyond that. So we are really paring down. However, we do still have a technology class, because what we're trying to do is say, there's a time and a place for everything, including technology, but there's a way to use it safely, there's a way to use it in an intelligent way, and there's a way to use it to help us achieve our goals, but also do it in a way that still allows us to think. And there's an awful lot of information out there. We also have to teach them how to take that information and figure out what is good information and what's not. So I'm glad you asked that. Jennifer?
I just want to clarify everything my father said about the standardized testing. We will always have a need for standardized testing. We have to have a metric stick. What he was trying to say is that we are not going to teach per se to the test. It is not a change in what we're teaching, but how we're teaching it. And we are trying to create thinkers, and by doing that, we have to get them to emotionally want to do that. And just, can I say one other thing about the liberal arts education? I know the first time that it was kind of introduced to us as teachers, I heard that word liberal and thought, But the woman that did our very first PD, explained it very simply, and I will never forget this, and I thought that's perfect. She said, the closer your relationship with God, the freer you are. The freer you are of guilt, the freer you are of worth, and that is a real part of Catholic education. And that is our main purpose along with teaching, is to create wonderful disciples. And that's what this does.
Yeah, and I think if you came to the renewal, what you found when the teachers started talking is you feel a sense of joy in them that is apparent, right? And we notice that the students are changing too. I have more and more students that are excited to be here, more and more students that don't want to miss school, which is exciting. All right, let's see.
With all the finances and transparency, it's been a goal of mine since I got here to increase transparency, because it's very clear from lots of different feedback that people wanted more transparency. So what I would say is, if you have specific questions, come and ask me directly, and we'll work to get it cleared up. There's so much that goes into trying to, I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, I don't have the spreadsheet off the top of my head, but we'll get, and so I'm trying to build trust, and I totally understand that transparency is how you build trust. Trust is built when we know someone else, and we know that they know us. And I'm committed to building trust. I'm committed to building culture. So know that any questions you have about well, why is it this way? Set up a meeting, and we'll talk about it. And your questions are going to help us be able to communicate more broadly the information that you think needs to be communicated. So we'll figure it out. The tuition increases, or the annual fund intent. Annual fund intent is to serve as an ongoing year-to-year fundraiser to fund all of the needs of the school. Essentially, it's to try and cover the gap between tuition and expenses. It was never the intent of Catholic education that the full brunt of the cost to educate children in a Catholic school would be owned exclusively by the parents who send their kids here. It's a communal effort, it's a mission, it's the mission of the church. And so the annual fund is meant to kind of broaden the net as far as we can go for people who have an interest in supporting Catholic education, both in terms of fundraising, but also in terms of marketing. So we hope to have, if you got the letters already, you can see in there, it's more than just, are you willing to give us some money? We're selling the story of St. Brigid. And we want to send that message to as many people as we can. So it's meant, so the three specific ways that the annual fund intends to fund are teacher salaries, guardian angel scholarships, and the Cardinal Hickey Endowment Fund. You can think of it, if you receive mailings from the bishop for a Christ Mission Appeal, you can think of it like that, but for our school. Tuition increases continue, and will there be scholarship? So we're always going to be, if we're going to raise tuition, the scholarship's always going to match that, depending on where people are at. I have a commitment to offering scholarships when there's a genuine need for that, and that's part of why we kind of retooled how scholarships are distributed. That FACS becomes the more normative benchmark for how tuition is, how scholarships are distributed, and so if tuition gets raised, and it's always inflation every year. If tuition gets raised, it's never, no family is going to be put in a position where if they want to come here, we're not going to give them the money that they genuinely need to come here. But that's going to be determined by more factors than just an individual conversation with the pastor. Preschool, keep praying. Really the biggest limitation is really physical space. It's physical space because you have to have all these other things, facilities for that. Tuition, I think I covered that. How to engage parents who don't have children here yet. I would say just getting to know parents who already come here. I don't know, you probably have a better answer to that question. I mean, there's always ways you can volunteer.
Yes. If you actually want to volunteer in the school, I think that's fantastic. And you can, there's three things that you have to do. One is to get fingerprinted. Two is to go through the Virtues program that is put on by the diocese. And three is to fill out paperwork, which you need, which is actually number one. But if you do those things, I can get you to volunteer right away. One of the most beautiful spaces that I can ask you to volunteer in is in our atrium. Because it is a fantastic space. And it will give you a sense of why we're doing what we're doing, especially when you get the kiddos in there. But we can use you in all sorts of ways, so be careful what you ask.
Pedagogy?
As far as the how long renewal, so we've been in the renewal 3 years. When we talked to St. Jerome, when we went out there, they said that it took about 10 years before they felt like they were where they need to be. So are we where we want to be? No. Are you ever where you want to be? You always have something you can strive for. But it took about 10 years before they felt like this is really what we had envisioned, when we started. So we have made huge strides in 3 years, and in 3 years from now we'll be much further ahead even than where we are. That's part of why we're doing this.
ICLE has been around for over 20 years as an institution.
Other casual fundraisers, yes, and also just other fundraisers as well, just activities for us to get together, like the trivia night that's happening next week. Please volunteer, or please buy a table. But it's just for fun.
That's Tom's role.
Yep.
That's what Tom's going to build.
What we can do is do kind of an FAQ with these, and kind of put that out there. We are recording this. We do have handouts, so anybody that wasn't here can have all of that, but I want you to have a chance to talk to teachers as well. So back in the open area, we have some charcuterie trays, we have some cookies, lots of kids here, yeah. We have coffee, water, and wine. So everybody, so I think the best thing for us right now is to stop talking, to move back there, and then talk to you as you have individual questions. Thank you all for coming, and we'll see you back there in a few minutes. Oh, by the way, the children's artwork is out there. Mrs. Pearl, can you wave your hand? Does everybody know Mrs. Pearl, our art teacher? She is amazing. She has artwork back there, and pianos, and what the kids have been doing this year has just been outstanding. So go back and see that as well.